Yeah, and now it's time for a chat with Pat.
Yes, and I'm really excited today. We have with us Ann Hendershott. She is a professor of sociology and director of Veritas Center for Ethics in Public Life at Franciscan University of Steubenville, Ohio. I've been to Veritas conferences. They are amazing. Welcome, Ann. So good to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you for having me, Pat. I'm so happy to hear you've been on campus so many times. That's great to hear.
Yeah, I love that place. So tell me, we're talking about an article that you wrote called Celebrating a Catholic Renaissance in France. Can you give our audience kind of an overview of the stats in France so they kind of understand what a big resurgence this is?
It's incredible. You know, as you know, Franciscan, we've always been celebrating a Catholic Renaissance because every day is a Catholic Renaissance. But,
exactly.
You know, when I get off campus, sometimes I get discouraged. But the news that is coming out of France and also New York City and Fort Worth, Texas, is that there really is something happening. God is being good to us. Well, he's always being good to us. But in France, it's extraordinary because, you know, France is kind of an atheistic country. I think everybody knows that. In fact, it's one of the top 5 number of atheists in the world in France.
Wow.
But this past year at Easter, 10,000 adults received the sacrament of baptism. That's an increase of 45% over the 7,000 last year in 2024, and a 90% increase over the 5,000 who were baptized in 2023, which was amazing to us. And the best news for me is that it isn't old people like me who are getting baptized. It's the youngest of the young. The 18 to 25-year-old cohort is making up 42% of those catechumens. And it's surpassing the 26 to 40 age group, which was usually our benchmark. In 2020, the number of 26 to 40-year-olds was double the number of 18 to 25. So this is really, really dramatic and exciting. And it's not a fluke. I mean, this has been a 3-year trajectory, up. So it's a good thing, really good thing.
Well, Anne, the bishops in France mentioned the Jubilee of Young People in Rome as what they believed might be one of the things that was spearheading this. What do you think? What's that connection that they're seeing?
Well, yes, I understand the bishops wanted to take a bit of credit for that, and Pope Francis certainly can take a bit of credit. You know,
sure,
he inspired people too. You know, and I think our wonderful new Pope. But I think God has the most to do with this, and He does put those things in front of us. You know, I just think these young people realize that life is meaningless without something to believe in. And the ones who have converted or who are converting, this great article in the New York Post, I know you don't probably read that, but they interviewed
I read it, though, because of you.
Converts. Yes, it's just a wonderful, I mean, the headline in the New York Post was, young people are converting to Catholicism en masse. And they say they're driven by pandemic, internet, and lax alternatives. The internet cannot be discounted. We have some amazing, amazing content creators on the internet who are Catholic and are inspiring people. And I don't want to say that's the entire reason for this. And then I worry, you know, is it just like a TikTok trend? You know, we don't want that because we want it to be deeper than that. So it's like all of the above. I mean, you have these content creators, and many of them are from Franciscan, I'm proud to say, on YouTube and on TikTok, who are talking about their faith, and they're inspiring others. That has something to do with it. But I think, you know, the culture is so degraded, and these young people are swimming in that degrading culture. You know, they're just surrounded by it. And the church offers the only refuge from that. And that's what I say in my article. You know, Gen Z is in search of truth. They want truth. They know there's not 27 genders. They know that a man can't become a woman. They know that in their heart. And the Catholic Church is really the only place that is consistently saying that and backing it up with the truth, you know. I mean, we have a president who's saying that, but when the Catholic Church says that and has never said anything else, and when the Catholic Church says it's wrong to kill an unborn child, you know, it gets their attention. We've always said it was wrong, and it's been wrong forever. Those things don't change.
Right.
And so I think it's the teachings we have. We offer them. So it isn't just a TikTok video or a
right.
But that helps. helps reinforce it, that there's cool people. You know, I say in my article that it's kind of hip to be Catholic these days.
Yeah.
You know, I never thought I'd be fashionable again, but it's nice. It's cool to be Catholic.
Well, Anne, I want to ask you quickly, too, the idea that you mentioned in your article that even media is changing in France. It's becoming a little more positive to Catholicism. And we know so often media has an ideology. So what's changed? What's driving what as far as the media is concerned in France?
Well, when I say it's cool to be Catholic again, there are cool people who are Catholic. That's a good thing. It isn't just old people, and it isn't just, you know, marginalized people who are looking for a place to hide out. I mean, it was an interesting story that they published in France about this young man, 24-year-old Henri Delsalmo, who was on a pilgrimage in France. And he confronted this man who was trying to attack children in a playground. And the TV reporter asked him what had inspired him to act so courageously, and he said it was his Catholicism, calling it the greatness that nourishes me. And so, you know, that was nice with the media. Usually they would cut away with something like that. Because that's, you know, this is an atheistic country. So they would think some whack job. But no, he was a courageous guy who saved those children. And so that's, I think their willingness to show that. And to look at celebrities. Eduardo Verstuga is a celebrity, a Catholic celebrity who is on fire with his faith, and he's very handsome. He was a soap opera star. He's a movie star. He talks about his faith. And all of that makes a huge difference. And the media is not making fun of him, you know, the way they used to make fun of, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So when I say it's cool to be Catholic again, it really is cool to be Catholic again. You know? And he's a very handsome, Eduardo Verstuga, I think his name is. He's a very well-known conservative Catholic, and nobody's making fun of him.
Yeah.
And I love that.
And you also mentioned about, it seems that the Catholic colleges in the United States, especially, who are owning Catholicism, they're not backing away from it, saying it's one of many, they're really owning it, are certainly they seem to be on the rise as far as, you know, acceptance of students. How do you see that? I mean, what's your stats look like in that area?
Well, I think students are flocking to these traditional Catholic campuses like my own, Franciscan University and Ave Maria University and Christendom. I mean, there's Wyoming. There's about a 24 or so of the what I call the faithful few who are willing to continue with their theology programs being theology. Places like University of San Diego, you cannot take any Catholic theology. I used to teach there, and it's a wonderful school, but they don't want to offend anyone. So if you go to their homepage, you see statues of the Buddha and Hindu. You know, our school is proud of our Catholic theology, and that's our most popular major on campus. We are not embarrassed by Catholic teaching. Some Catholic schools, there's 230 of them, and I say there's, you know, only about 24 that are really faithful to the gospel message. And so I write about that in my new book, Lamp in the Darkness, because I believe these schools are like the lamp, the light of the Catholic faith that illuminates the darkness.
Before I let you go, Anne, quickly, is that book already published, coming out?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's Sophia Press. So if you can go to Amazon, Anne Hendershott, Lamp in the Darkness, you'll read about those faithful few.